Now, I'm just going to play the entirety of this clip, or this YouTube short, as it's probably shown as a YouTube short, but for me it's shown as a full-size video. Now, I'll have to say that the glitchy sound effects, or the glitchy soundtrack that I see or hear from like 7 seconds onwards, I would have to assume that either that's a rendering issue or part of the track. I'd have to say it's a rendering issue because it doesn't seem in line with everything else, but that being said, the soundtrack being used here may not be indicative of anything. That is because with the previous video, the arena is calling your name. I don't think this soundtrack is actually used, or is going to be used in Tower Defense Simulator, purely because I'm not entirely sure where it can be heard. However, you can feel free to disagree with me with that these soundtracks could be used somehow in Tower Defense Simulator for the PvP game mode release. What is more interesting is what the title of this video says and what the indication is here. Battle for your rank, reap the rewards. Now, firstly, it seems like the case where PvP ranks are pretty much different to your normal level rank that you get in Tower Defense Simulator. Now, we kind of have seen it in the past with the previous PvP testing, because there were low rank matches, there were mid rank matches, and there were high rank matches. Now, this was the case because the developers tested out this feature for levels only, because obviously this being a PvP test, nobody had any ELO rankings for PvP mode. Now, it's basically confirmed by the developers that ELO is being used for ranking PvP matches, but initially, obviously, I think everyone else is going to start off with like low rank matches, and as you play more and more matches, the higher your ELO rank, and therefore the higher your PvP rank is going to be. So you'll eventually get up to high rank, which is just PvP enemies from Fallen mode, whereas mid-rank matches are PvP enemies from Molten mode, and low-rank matches are enemies from Intermediate mode. Well, minus the tank, which just randomly appears here, but the developers might change that further along. So at least in the short term, from what we've seen so far, it looks like PvP ranks and your level in Tower Defense Simulator are going to be separate things. This was one of the main things that people had an issue with back in 2020. PvP really didn't have a separate way of tracking your stuff other than triumphs through your trophies compared to survival matches. Now it seems like there's going to be a different way of tracking PvP matches and your survival matches, and they may contribute to different statistics. So PvP wins may contribute to your PvP rank, and survival matches may contribute to your survival level. Very interestingly here, we do actually see what looks like ranks. So, as you can see here, you see what appears to be some Einsteins, which is reminiscent of a military rank. So you can see here, you got chevrons and a star at the top. Now for the other ones, it's not as clear what these are. So here, all I can see is 2 chevrons and a sort of Einstein below it. The other one, you can't really see because of the verticalness of this video. From what I can see, it's just a shield with a chevron on top. However, very clearly, there are Einsteins and there are what appears to be rank logos seen here. Now, this is very special because previously in Tower Defense Simulator, ranks were first proposed back in 2020 as part of the overhaul update, and they were meant to show your like rank, kinda, which was based on your level. So every 5 levels you got a new rank. So for example, if you were level 5, you got a rank 1 Einstein. If you were rank 2, you were between either level 5 and level 10, etc, up until about rank 135, where Below Natural ran out of rank signs, which is why it terminated there. Now, this is kinda still in the game, sort of, in a very, very small capacity sense. So, on your mobile profile card, so if you go into mobile and then click on a profile, you'll notice that you'll have a rank, or rank Einstein, next to your level. So here, level 426, you have what appears to be 2 bronze chevrons and then 3 stars on top of your rank. Now, this is actually bronze, let me read this. Bronze 8, so that was a rank that you had. I believe it went bronze 1, silver 1, gold 2, then bronze 2, silver 2, gold 2, and then so on and so forth. So this is actually one of the higher ranks that you can actually get. Although, interestingly, on the mobile profile cards, you can also see your PvP wins. So as you can see here, that's your swords here. So that's 7 for Menton, but those only tracked before the 2020 removal in about March. If you have any PvP testing wins, they didn't contribute to this. So actually, what I'm going with this is that it seems to be the case where after finally about 5 or 4 years, the developers may be adding ranks to PvP mode. Now, we don't know what the ranks are going to be, and we don't know how many ranks there are going to be. Could be infinite, like the levels here, or it could be a similar system that Below Natural first leaked to me, where every 5 levels you get a rank. But in any case, it looks like there are going to be rewards for ranks in PvP mode. Now, further rewards here include what appears to be some statues. So here you have a gold trophy of some kind. Okay, that might be representative of like triumphs in PvP mode, but triumphs in PvP mode have typically been shown off with swords, not a gold trophy. Those have been normally reserved for survival modes. Additionally, you see what appears to be towers right next to the trophy. So here it looks like some sort of minigunner, a golden minigunner of sorts, which is very interesting because that could be a skin that you get from like certain amounts of PvP wins, for example. And the next one along, I'm not entirely sure what this could be. If you ask me, this is reminiscent of, I believe, the Fallen Militant. This is what the Fallen Militant looks like, and the only reason why I say that is because the gun that the Fallen Militant has is more like a sword, and here it kind of looks like a sword rather than a gun. And like the helmet around it is weirdly shaped, but so is the minigunner, and I don't really think the minigunner helmet really looks like much anyways. It kind of looks more like the Executioner's helmet rather than anything else. Now obviously these could be exclusive skins, so me comparing it to skins that are already in the game may make no sense whatsoever if they're going to be new stuff. But that's just what I think. Again though, this doesn't really look like a gun or even a weapon of sorts. It doesn't look like a sword. That's why I speculate maybe Fallen Militant. Perhaps this is an indication to us that a certain amount of PvP wins, you'll get some skins. And then, later on, we get what appears to be what people are debating on what this is. So people have said that this is what appears to be a scout skin. However, some other people are saying that this looks like a cowboy skin. The reason why this is their debate is because the scout skin, or scout skins, they do get dual wielding weapons at level 4, and only level 4 actually, whereas the cowboy also gets dual wield at level 4 as well, but it also has a level 5. Now, if you ask me, those guns do kind of look revolvery, so kind of pointing towards the cowboy tower. However, that being said, what's stopping the scout holding revolvers? And also, do bear in mind that this is just a render by Profine. Doesn't necessarily confirm nor deny the fact that this could be any skin in the game whatsoever. This could be the medic skin because it's floating in the air. And because these are like, I don't know, renders rather than actual gameplay footage, this is up to Profine's discretionary policies when it comes to making these models. So who knows what this skin could be for, but I think it's a very good chance that this is the Scout. And making exclusive skins for PvP mode, I mean, firstly, that does actually contribute to the reward side of things in the trailer, or more accurately, a teaser/leak video, short really, rather than anything else. But Below Natural has actually talked about this in the past as well, back on the 5th of September 2024, when the Mako DJ booth was first released to Tower Defense Simulator as the first Ultimate skin. Below Natural also leaked for future Ultimate skins. We did get one in the form of the Game Master Crook Boss, the only other Ultimate skin in Tower Defense Simulator, but he also said that it'll be obtainable for our upcoming PvP game mode. Now, I do realise that this is nearly a year ago at this point, so this might have changed. However, there was at least an indication in the past where Tower Defense Simulator was going to add Ultimate skins for PvP rewards. Now, whether these PvP rewards are after a certain amount of triumphs in PvP mode or getting a certain rank in PvP mode, we don't know. And I wouldn't hold your breath too long for like these rewards to actually be added to Tower Defense Simulator, given the fact that PvP game mode has been promised to us since, at least in the modern sense, since May the 15th, 2024, with Below Natural's new account on Discord. But also, since it was first removed back in March 2020, back then, Below Natural said that PvP game mode would be added soon, or re-added soon. If soon means 5 years, then yeah, fair enough, it will be re-added soon. Other things that Below Natural has leaked is PvP win streaks, which was actually an idea from someone, and then also PvP global leaderboards for wins and streaks. Now actually, this was more of a speculation rather than a definite feature that was going to be added, but given the fact that PvP did have its own leaderboard back in the day of the most triumphs in PvP game modes, that would probably make sense. However, I would imagine that people who had PvP wins before 2020 I think they will get removed because it seems a little bit unfair that some people may have a head start in the amount of PvP game mode wins that they had previously from 2020. You're basically grandfathering people with PvP wins from 2020 to the modern day. Now, you may argue that people from 2020, they deserve to have like their PvP wins transferred over. However, I assume this is going to be a totally different system, and comparing them like to like from 2020 to 2025, it's not going to be accurate, so I don't think that's what should happen. There's also, Below Natural has confirmed this, I mean, I did speculate this previously, but ELO scores are currently hidden. The more you win in ranked, the higher your score. Right now, this is in a testing phase where we're purely collecting data on its current balancing. This was when PvP testing weekends were a thing. On the full release, PvP will release with a full UI showing all your stats, PvP rewards, and much more, confirming that Below Natural was planning PvP rewards. However, at least in April 2025, Below Natural was saying that Ultimate Skins were going to be free, more info coming on the release of PvP, although really, it's someone asking Ultimate Skins finally becoming free, and Below Natural saying, and then more info coming with the release of PvP game mode. So at the very least here, these look like ultimate skins, or, well, an ultimate skin if you don't really include the trophies that's seen beside the trophy here. Then again though, these could secretly be leaking a new PvP skin as part of like an ultimate skin. I mean, after all, ultimate skins, they have like special effects, or they're meant to look unique, so golden, shiny golden, probably is kind of unique. Then again though, we do have the Triumphant Hacker, and it's not really an ultimate skin, it's like a, was it exclusive skin? Yeah, who knows.